In today's video, we're going to be running through my team selection ahead of double game week 11 in EFL Fantasy, and of course giving you all the data you need to make the best decisions this game week. Now, before we dive into today's video, of course, if you do enjoy the EFL Fantasy content on the channel, make sure you are liking and subscribing, and of course, heading over to my Twitter. That is, of course, where I post all the betting data in terms of clean sheet percentages, of course, the goal projections and percentage chances of winning. So obviously, if you want to kind of take a little bit more of an in-depth look, that'll be over on my Twitter. A link to that in the description. Let's first off start off with blank game week 10 and talk through how my team got on in that one. And as you can see, little bit of a stinker. Really only 3 players kind of turning up to the party. Of course, O'Connor, Poku and Jatta in the early kickoff, kind of delivering the goods for us. Obviously, some late clean sheets were lost for Barrow and Gillingham, and that really kind of put us down the pan, to be honest. We were on for a pretty decent score. I think at one point in the game when both Barrow and Gillingham were drawing, and of course a clean sheet was in the bank, I think we were up to around 300 in the world, which is pretty mad to say the least. But of course, things didn't work out like that, and Gillingham lost, and of course Barrow lost too at the time, the 2 bottom clubs, so not the best result in the world. We have taken a little bit of a tumble. However, what we have noticed from this game week is something we are going to be taking forward, and that is what I'm going to reveal to you in today's video. Now, first off, I wanted to talk about some teams that you potentially could be looking to target with this double game week. Obviously, a lot of teams are doubling in game week 11, so these are just a kind of, I would say, a smatter, a little sample of the collection that I've been working with. Millwall, I think, is a great fixture, 2 home fixtures against Derby and Plymouth, who are also down there for them, so definitely some defensive assets. Of course, they have Saville as well, is probably going to be in most people's teams this week. Reading, I think, is a pretty decent one. They've obviously got Crawley at home. Really struggling at the moment are Crawley since losing their new manager. Exeter away will be difficult, but I still think people like Lewis Wing potentially could be a decent pickup there. Wigan, they've got obviously Cambridge, who are rotting down the bottom. Then they face Mansfield at home. For me, Wigan players is probably going to be looking more towards their defensive assets because how good they've been defensively, especially at home so far this season. MK Dons are playing 2 of the worst teams in the EFL as well this season in Morecambe and Accrington. So again, they definitely need some consideration. They potentially could have that new manager bounce as well. And then finally, Walsall, who have been flying in League 2, face off against the Grimsby playoff chasing side, but then they do go in the midweek against Carlisle at home. So definitely, again, worth some consideration. And we will be talking about these teams a little bit more in depth with my team selection as well. But the thing I wanted to point out, and this is kind of basically come from my dad, so big shout out to him. He noticed a few weeks ago that defenders, especially lower league defenders, were scoring a lot more points than attacking players. And I've kind of sort of already alluded to that and kind of made the switch to kind of 3 in midfield and very rarely went for 2 up front. But as we can see here, this is the highest scoring players. Now, we've had 10 game weeks played. Obviously, some of these have played more games than others, especially the lower league defenders. They have played more. But as we can see here, there is a big, I would say, disparity between the point scoring between midfielders and defenders. Out of the 12 on this list, of course, 9 of them are defenders. If we look in terms of the quality of the league as well that they're playing in, it goes League 2, League 2, League 1, League 1, Championship, League 1, and then it goes League 2, League 2, League 1, League 2, Championship, League 1. So there's a lot of kind of, I would say, the lower league defenders are doing extremely well. And I think the way that the game's been set up with these defenders picking up points for clearances, blocks and tackles, it does favour that lower league kind of standard of football where sometimes you are just hoofing it out. In terms of the Championship players, obviously there's a lot more of a progressive style, a lot more passing, and, you know, players are, I would say, a little bit more reluctant to clear the ball. But I think with the League 2 ones and the League 1 ones, as we can see here, it is more just bodies on the line, defending, getting tackles in. And what I'm going to recommend for you guys is starting to use this to your advantage and picking back threes rather than going for the 2 up front. Immediately, my thought process straight away would be get rid of 2 up front. Despite how good the fixtures might be, it's just not working out. The players aren't scoring high enough. So for me, it is either going to be a 3 in midfield or, of course, my kind of preference for the next few weeks, of course, is going to be a 3 at the back as well. Like I said, My dad was the one that pointed this out, and he's had a massive rank gain over the past few weeks, kind of utilising this free at the back system, and it's worked wonders for him. He's actually gone above me in terms of rank as well, so soon you might be actually seeing him on this screen rather than myself for the Fantasy EFL videos, because he's an expert now. He's figured it out. He's figured the game out, but I'm possessing some of the cheat codes over to you guys as well, so of course you can do better in this game. But let's head over to my team selection for this double game week. Wasting no time, let's dive straight into my team selection. First off, it is going to be Tom McGill in goal from MK Dons. Like I said in the last section, they are playing against two of the worst sides in the EFL. They also have a decent percentage chance of a clean sheet. Like I said, if you want to go and check out the betting data stuff, head over to my Twitter. It is all available on over there. 34.8% chance of a clean sheet in that opening game, and you do imagine against Accrington, it's probably going to be around something similar, probably even heading into the 40s, maybe potentially close to that 50 mark as well, with how poor Accrington have been away from home and in terms of their goal scoring ability this season. So I'm very happy to have him. In terms of the back line, like I said, we are shifting to that three at the back. Starting off is going to be our captain for this week. It is going to be Dimitru. As we saw in the last section, he is the highest scoring player within the game. 9.3 points per game so far this season, and even when his team doesn't win or doesn't keep a clean sheet, this guy is still picking up points. He picked up 9 points last week despite drawing away at Doncaster in a 1-1 draw, because he just does, like what I said, picks up blocks, picks up clearances, 91 of them for him so far this season. A great opening game against Salford, who've been very low scoring, very kind of, I would say, impotent in front of goal. Fleetwood away is going to be a little bit more difficult, but again, this is something I'm starting to think about. Is these defenders not even worth getting their clean sheet points for, because they're just picking up tackles and blocks and interceptions anyway, and still managing to come away with really decent points? So that's the thought process, and that's what we're going to be using going forward as well. O'Connor's back in for a second week. I was very impressed with his score last week. 10 points in a game where they did keep a clean sheet, but again, it was all down to his clearances, blocks, tackles, everything like that definitely helped him over the line. Of course, they've got a decent fixture in the opening one with Carlisle away. They are currently sat bottom of the league, and you do feel like Harrogate have any chance of staying up this season. They need to be winning games like that. Then they face Port Vale at home. Obviously, Port Vale are currently top of League 2, so that's going to be a really difficult fixture. But again, I'm thinking, if this guy can maybe keep a clean sheet in the Carlisle game and then just pick up tackles, clearances, blocks and stuff like that, maybe do a Dimitru-esque performance there and come away with decent scores, it could be very beneficial in the long run. Same goes with Amerson as well, another defender that has done exceptionally well just for doing the basics. 7.8 points per game so far for him, a 35.7% chance of a clean sheet against Cambridge, and of course then they do face off against Mansfield, who are doing really well so far this season. But Wigan have made the DW Stadium, or whatever it's called for sponsorship reasons these days, pretty much a fortress. They've kept 8 clean sheets so far in 10 games for them so far this season. So a really good defence to going back. And again, like I said, clean sheets, clearances, he does the lot. Let's head on into the midfield. First up, we're going to go for George Saville. As I highlighted with the fixtures at the start, it is a decent set for Millwall. He's only actually got 1 attacking return so far this season, but he's been absolutely incredible for interceptions and key passes, and does find himself up there as one of the top scoring players within the game as well. And that is purely down to, again, just doing the basics, the tackles, the interceptions, both home fixtures as well. You feel both of these games could be very important for Millwall this season. So again, another player that is probably going a little bit under the radar because he's not appearing in the attacking data, but again, is getting those points for just doing the basics, and maybe this is how we've got to play this game and break the mechanics that way as well. Next up is going to be Molyneux, and I do feel this is a pick probably overrated by a little people, overlooked, sorry, by some people this week. Back-to-back 9-pointers for him, and he is playing 2 of the worst, again, teams within League 2, Swindon and Bromley as well. Bromley are currently sat bottom for XG conceded as well. Molyneux has just been ticking along very nicely, and I do feel like this could be another fixture where you do just stick with the main man and hope that he does return. Finishing up, it is going to be our forward. It is going to be Nathan Lowe. 8 games, 4 goals, 4 assists for him this season. Walsall have also created the most goals per game. They've also got the best XG in the league as well, so they are doing really well in front of goal. As you can see as well, we have selected them as one of the teams, and it is kind of that main principle. I don't think the Grimsby fixture is going to be as easy as some people are suggesting, but I think they could potentially smash a few past Carlisle, keep a clean sheet, and of course get the win. So I'm very, very happy to go for them for the first time this season. And of course, I do feel like we have to have Milton Keynes in here as the other team to be going for, because they are, like I said, playing two of the worst sides back to back in the EFL, and it makes complete sense for me to be having them as my second team. Let me know what you think of the team down in the comment section. Is there any players that I potentially missed? Let me know, and of course, if you've got any dilemmas about your team as well, get them in the comments. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in double game week 11.